Hey friends, in today's video, I want to show you the steps on how I paint 2 red apples using acrylic paint. One apple will be painted whole, while the other will be depicted as sliced. I know this might not be the best apple painting in the world, but I hope the stages of this painting process can serve as a helpful reference for those of you who are just starting your painting journey. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, and let's get started. The surface I'm using for this painting is 300 GSM painting paper, which I have lightly coated with burnt umber acrylic paint to create a warm base for the artwork. For brushes, I will be using flat brushes in various sizes, which I will adjust according to the detail requirements of each section of the painting. Throughout the painting process, I will also show you the acrylic colors I'm using one by one, so you can easily follow along. For this sketch, I will be using brilliant red paint. If you haven't done this before, it may take a few practice attempts to achieve the desired result. As a reference, you can use a real apple, observe it directly, or look at various apple photos online. Begin by forming a basic circle that resembles the overall shape of the apple. Don't worry too much about the details at first. Just focus on the proportions and positioning of the object you want to draw. Remember, this sketch doesn't have to be perfect because we will be layering paint over it later. Once the sketch is complete, we move on to the painting stage. I will start by adding burnt umber and titanium white acrylic paints to my palette. Then I will mix brilliant red with both of these colors to achieve the variations I desire. This mixture will create a gradient of red, ranging from a darker red to a lighter one. For those of you who are painting for the first time, there's no need to worry too much or get fixated on what I'm demonstrating in the video. Try to experiment with color mixing and use your intuition to find the gradient that works for you. Let your instincts guide you until you discover the perfect colors for your painting. Okay, if we have enough colors prepared, let's start painting the sketch we've created. Remember, the colors on your palette don't have to be absolute. You can keep adjusting them. If it feels too dark, just mix red with burnt umber. Conversely, if you want it lighter, simply mix in some titanium white. I will start by applying red in the center of the apple and adding darker colors around it. During this part, it's important to understand the differences between light and shadow through direct observation. Pay attention to how the light hits the apple and how shadows form in certain areas. Alternatively, you can follow along with what I'm doing in the video. This painting process can be time-consuming and requires patience, so to maintain focus, I won't be cutting this section in the video. After finishing all the red on the apple's skin, it's now time to paint the inside of the apple, especially the sliced one. For this part, I will add yellow ochre to my palette. I'll mix yellow ochre with titanium white to lighten the color, then add a bit of brilliant red to balance the tone. For the darker areas, like the shadows cast by the whole apple on the right, I will add burnt umber to create a natural shadow effect. We've completed the base layer of color for the apples. While we wait for this layer to dry, I will now paint the background using burnt umber. To lighten the color, I will add a touch of titanium white. It's important to remember that for this background, you're free to use any colors you wish. Express your creativity and don't hesitate to experiment with different color combinations. Next, we will paint the floor area. I'm using a combination of brilliant red, yellow ochre, and titanium white to achieve a soft pastel color. With this color mixture, I will sweep the paint evenly across the floor area. Additionally, I will also paint the shadow from the apples we've painted. completing the base colors in each section, we will now move on to a very important stage, adding details to our painting. I will start by focusing on the sliced apple, particularly the apple seeds. For this, I'm using burnt umber acrylic paint, which will give a more natural and rich feel. After that, I will refine some color areas on the sliced apple, highlighting the lighting that needs emphasis and clarifying the shadows that should be more defined. This process is crucial because these small details can provide depth and character to the painting, making it more vibrant and captivating. Next, I will paint the apple's stem and leaf. To give a fresh and natural color, I will add brilliant green to my palette. Additionally, I will begin refining each part of the overall base color, including the shadows and highlights on the apple. This stage is the most time-consuming and is crucial for creating realistic details. Although this process requires patience, I want to ensure that every step is clearly shown, so I won't be cutting this part. I want you to enjoy every moment of this process, as painting is a journey filled with exploration and discovery. I realize that this painting may not be completely finished, but so far, we have explored many aspects that can serve as a foundation for painting. Now at this point, let's take a moment to observe. It's essential to pay attention to every detail we've added, such as how light and shadow interact and how we create depth through layers of color. From this video, we've learned about basic painting techniques, how to mix colors to achieve the desired gradation, and how to patiently add details. These are all vital steps in developing our painting skills. Okay, I hope this video helps you on your painting journey. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and be sure to check out my other videos. See you in the next one.